Good morning. I am back like Freddy Krueger. It is March 8th. My name is Carrie Freeman. March 8th, 2021. I am Carrie Freeman. You arrived at My Left Ear. This is my YouTube channel. And it's called My Left Ear because I get information through my left ear, and most people know that by now. I do psychic commentary that is leaning to the left politically, and some current affairs, and this is for entertainment purposes only. I call myself a change agent because I do psychic coaching. I help people change and overcome problems and find the light. I do therapeutic hypnosis, and I coach writing and performance. I have a background in all. So I do want to say before I begin that I did have a very bad week. I'm not going to bore you with details, but at the beginning of last week, a week ago today, I had a big old giant molar extracted from right here, right by my left ear. And I didn't have anesthesia or anything. Not that it hurt, but I was scared to death, to be honest with you. So a lot of soreness this week, no appetite, minimal ability to eat food, soft stuff. So that, and then at the end of the week, I had my second Moderna shot, and that wrecked me for 2 days. So I was sick all weekend, and I even had to cancel a session on Sunday. But I feel good right now. And as you can see, I fixed up, I washed the hair, and I'm ready to go. So here we go, because I have a lot. I kept notes all week long when I didn't feel good. But once again, thank you. I got such nice notes from everybody. It really made me feel good. And I'm glad to be back. All right, I want to start with a deep breath. It's a good reminder. All right, here we go. Here we go. Joe Biden news, our hero with the vaccines, okay? He's knocking it out of the ballpark. He made a promise. The promise is happening. He's getting into the pandemic with these vaccines. The vaccine companies are working together. It's so funny because I must have checked in with the CPAC, that disgusting convention that the pubs had in Florida. And I did catch the former guy calling Joe Biden a disaster. The guy who's getting the vaccines out to people in record time is a disaster. The guy who just brought COVID relief to millions is a disaster. I just had to mention it. It's just so funny. So, as we all know, Biden's win for the relief package by a whisker was history making. Some people are saying it's bipartisan, but it really wasn't. Not one Republican voted yes. And I am mentioning this because other people on TV, MSNBC, have touched on this, but I'm going to go right into it because I feel like my left ear knows this. The pubs have no platform for 2022. What could be their platform? Look at what we did to help you. We got you unemployment extension. We got you that $1,400. No, you didn't. You voted against it. Every single. So what's going to happen is the candidates, the Democratic or independent candidates, they're going to run against the pubs in 2022, are going to have the most fabulous platform and arguments. And the pubs won't really have a fight. Watch for this. This is going to be the great playbook for winning. And in 2024, it's so funny how the Democrats had no foresight. And I told you last video that Joe was playing the long game because wise people play the long game. But these pubs, there's not one pub that's playing the long game here. It's amazing. Anyway, here's some other good news. This is my left ear. The Democrats are going to grow in the Senate. So they're going to leave Joe Manchin in the dust. Joe Manchin, the alleged Democratic senator, was it from Virginia, I think? who voted for Jeff Sessions, who voted for Kavanaugh, who voted against unemployment at $400 a week in Biden's package, and everybody in the universe called him, and he wouldn't move from that, and so it reduced everybody's unemployment by $100 a week. That's Joe Manchin, and I think he's enjoying this position where he holds power, but he's not going to hold power for long, and this is what I'm going to share with you. There are 5 Republican senators that are retiring. 5, she holds up her hand. And they're going to have to be replaced, reelected. And the Dems are going to take more majority in the Senate for this reason. Promise you, my left ear promises you, and Manchin will no longer rule. Now, we'll take a year before these elections happen and blah, blah, blah. But I found this interesting quote that I'm putting into the middle of my presentation today. And it reminds me of something that we should just say directly to the pubs. I call them pubs now. I don't know why I like that. I like that nickname, pubs. It's by Alice Walker, the famous author, the woman who wrote The Color Purple. This is her quote: "Look closely at the present you are constructing. It should look like the future you are dreaming." Wow, that was for the pubs. All right, now we're going to go on to the filibuster, which is really big news right now. This is what I know about the filibuster. I would not be expecting the filibuster to change anytime soon. Joe Biden is not for changing it right now, okay? He's not completely dug in, but he's not, because he was in the Senate for years, and I think he saw the value when the Democrats were not in the majority, because the only people that really benefit from the filibuster are it's the party that's in the secondary position. So right now it's the Republicans by a whisker, but it's the Republicans. So let me just read to you the definition. A filibuster is a procedure used in the United States Senate to block or delay a bill from being brought to vote. The most common is for one or more senators to attempt a delay by extending the debate on this measure and by offering numerous procedural motions to delay or obstruct. That's what happens. So they can hold the floor forever. A friend of, like my neighbor the other day asked me, "Carrie, what's your left ear say about the filibuster?" And I said, "Let me think about it and I'll get back to you." So I have thought about it. I've meditated on it. And my left ear just says, don't expect anything soon. Now, let me just read you something that I took right out of my research. The Senate has a number of options for curtailing the use of the filibuster, including setting a new precedent, changing the rule itself, or placing restrictions on its use. Now, I think this was done by the Republicans so they could scoot in the Supreme Court people. But modifying the filibuster would still require a Senate majority. So it could happen, but not for a while. And I'm sorry to give you that news. I think it's toxic. And I think this Republican minority are going to use it to the max. So I'm a little concerned. And I'm concerned because of the Fair Voting Act. That is so important that I'm wondering how we're going to pull that off. And I haven't gotten the answers yet, but we have time, and I will talk to you about that. I'm not letting that go because it's the next giant thing about voter suppression. All right, I'm going to talk about that little, I want to call him a bad name, but I'm going to try to be classy here. Someone wrote me that they were surprised I ate chocolate pudding hanging over my kitchen sink because they said, "Oh, you're so classy." I was like, "Oh no, I'm a biker chick. I drink beer out of the bottle and I'll eat food standing up over the sink, but I fix up for you guys and I try to put on like a classy kind of thing." Anyway, It's so interesting about all the pubs saying no to the stimulus, no to the ED, because maybe 6 months ago, before Josh Hawley became a demon seed, he introduced a $2,000 stimulus check for all citizens, and he did it with Bernie Sanders. Somehow that went away. Somehow he didn't believe in that anymore. So he voted on no on the relief. Here's what my left ear wants you to know. Missouri's going to dump Hawley, and the feds will interrogate him, and they're going to research his phone records, and I believe he's looking at huge, huge problems. Huge problems. Okay, and that's going to be not just him, that's going to be other members of the Senate also, but I will get to that. Mitch McConnell, I think he's not well, and he's talking about resigning. That may be twofold, that his wife is in trouble, Elaine Chao, legal trouble, she's being investigated, and he's 79. And we have seen him come to the Senate having come through a medical test where he's purple, and there's something wrong with him. And we kind of feel that his doctors said, Mitch, you got to resign. So keep an eye on that. He won't be completing his term, but here's the outrageous part, and it's typical of Mitch McConnell. He is seeking to change the laws in Kentucky so that the governor, the existing governor of Kentucky, who is a Democrat, cannot appoint a Democrat. Now, normally, the law is that governor can appoint anybody he wants to. So Mitch is in there trying to change this law. We don't think he's going to be successful. So there you go. Now, Mrs. Mitch, Elaine Chao, former transportation secretary, that investigators have found that allegations towards Elaine are substantiated. They're valid, and they're serious enough to be referred to the U.S. Justice Department for possible criminal prosecution. My left ear says, you bet. She's been up to no good. Go. Mitch and Elaine, what a beautiful couple. Anyway, now we're going to get to, once again, the voters' rights, the voter suppression. The bill is called H.R. 1. The House just passed it, but the majority in the House are Democrats. And now it's going to go to the Senate, and it's going to be a tough one. And I think it's so correct, it's so right, it's so needed, or we're going to have massive fraud, because that's how the Republicans need to win. They're not in the majority in the United States. The Democrats have the majority, and they have nothing to offer. But they're probably going to filibuster, and I just want to be honest and let you know I'm not sure yet. I'm sure it's one of the most important bills of our time. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. However, Joe Biden signed an executive order to direct federal agencies to make access to voter registration information easier. The American voters, including, the 57% of the Republicans want the voting bill to go through. 57%. That's like the Republicans who wanted the relief to go through, but the pubs ignored that. So, unfortunately, democracy still is in danger. Gerrymandering is still a story for 2022. There's a lot of determined people, Democrats, who want to fix this. And we know Stacey Abrams is superhuman. She's superwoman. So no one's taking this lying down. There are great forces working for the democratic process and voting. The Andrew Cuomo thing is really uncomfortable for me to talk about because I think it's twofold. I think there is possibly a hit job going on because the one person in New York that could free Donald Trump from all his charges would be the governor of New York. And we know that would never happen with Andrew Cuomo. We don't know, but evidently Trump has friends. He has Republican friends that want to be governor. And he would do this. He's a gangster. So I believe that's been operating. However, I do believe that Andrew Cuomo has that he's guilty of some of this. I don't think he grabbed anybody. I think he said things and he made people uncomfortable, and he was inappropriate and completely foolish. Because you want someone who's done a really good job for your whole state to have common sense. But what we're seeing is a guy who did a good job full of hubris. So, and here's something I want to share with you. I got that Chris Cuomo, his brother, is furious with Andrew. He's privately very angry. Kind of like, how could you be so stupid? But Chris is happily married for all intents and purposes. So Joe Manchin, I kind of covered him. He's hurt his reputation. He's destroyed any hope of a real alliance with Joe Biden. Joe Biden called him about that $100 of unemployment that he wanted to deny people. Chuck Schumer met with Joe Manchin privately. Nobody could get through to Joe Manchin. He feels like a closeted Republican, but he counts as a Democrat in the Senate. But he won't have this power for a long time. And that's what I want you to know. Personally, I can't stand him. And he is the one person who held up Mira Tandem's confirmation for the OMB. She apologized, all kinds of stuff. But she also came out after his daughter, who had raised prices on the EpiPen, which were outrageous. So it appears that he had an axe to grind with what? What was I just talking about? An axe to grind with Mira Tandem. All right, January 6th. There will be delivered more and more and more damning evidence. And there are these investigations going on that are going to go legal. And the investigations are going to go to Margie Taylor Greene. They're going to go to Lauren Boebert. They're going to go to Ted Cruz. I mentioned Josh Hawley, Gohmert, Matt Gaetz, and probably Jim Jordan. That is coming. And this is where we're going to see some losses in Congress and the Senate of Republicans. This is another opening that we're going to have. I'm going to say something funny. Don't get upset. Good news about Jim Jordan. I don't know if you heard this, but George Clooney is producing a documentary about the Ohio State wrestling scandal and all about Jim Jordan. That was the first bit of news that came out, and I was like, whoopee. And then the second bit of news is that he's under investigation for campaign finance. They discovered a load of money, millions of money that he was held on to that he never, claimed. So Jim Jordan going down. And mostly the final thing I want to say is really sad, and I have to be careful. But I do not see Don Trump Jr. Coming out of all of this in any good shape. He looks to me, and this is from 8 years experience of sitting with thousands of drug addicts, that he's in deep trouble. He looks to me, entertainment purposes only, like he's going down, and he might meet a tragic ending. Because this is not a family system that does interventions or tries to help. This is a family system that is, if you're not perfect, you're not strong, you're not on board, you're forgotten. Nobody does an intervention. This is what happened to Mary L. Trump's uncle. So it's not good news for Donald Jr. And I think his girlfriend is probably there as a meal ticket and seeing what her future, Kimberly, the bowl dancer. I'm just cramming it all in today because I haven't talked to you guys for over a week. And by the way, I felt guilty, but I thought, no, you just got to rest. You got to take it easy. So thank you for your patience. Quote time. This has to do with Joe Biden's triumphs this week. Here's the quote. Never tell me the odds. Han Solo said it. Never tell me the odds. Joe Biden lives it. That's mine. And then here's just something kind of amusing from a Renaissance philosopher, a French Renaissance philosopher. Let me see if I can say her or his name. I think it's a male, Michel de Montaigne. I could be so wrong. Anyway, the quote is this. My life has been filled with terrible misfortune, most of which never happened. Ba-dum-bum. My life has been filled with terrible misfortune, most of which has never happened. So that kind of speaks to anxiety and what our brains can do and our imagination. We all have gone through that. And then here's a bonus, okay, guys, because I'm in the mood and I missed you. Here's the quote. If you're reading this, congratulations, you're alive. If that's not something to smile about, then I don't know what is. It's from a book of poetry called Monsters Under Your Head. There you go. So anyway, all comments are welcome. And I'm signing out now and saying, God, it's good to see you. Make peace, make blessings, look for the good evidence, be the good evidence. Okay, see you soon, guys. Bye-bye.